Well, here we are, one more day closer to Christmas Day. And here I am with a different Santa hat, trying to be jolly in these days leading up to Christmas Day. And here's one way you could be really jolly if you'd like to listen to my online radio stations. Both of them playing Christmas music. I'm going to show you them here. This is one, the Island's Golden Classics on Swish. And you can go to the website, which is swisSSH.ca. And there you can link to tune in. And the other station is this one, Starlight Island Bright. Starlight is your home for the holidays. Swish is your official holiday music station, the Island's Golden Classics. So I just thought I would show you those two. Swish, the Island's Golden Classics, and Starlight, Island Bright, your home for the holidays. There you go. Yes, that was a commercial. So I'm sitting here in my lovely Santa hat and with a couple of parcels you see behind me. There's more parcels over this way, but you can't see them. These are all parcels, gifts wrapped and ready to go. I just got room under the tree today when I delivered a couple of gifts to people, so now there's some room to put these other ones, which will stay in this house. So I'm sitting here with gifts in my studio with the Santa hat, and a shortbread cookie. I love shortbread cookies. So here we are. I'm actually filming this blog today on the 21st of December, which is Saturnalia, the winter solstice. Now, Saturnalia is actually a pagan festival, and they would party for a week, and they would, give gifts to one another, and of course, apparently they would, sit around semi-clothed, and they would have sex. So it's like your normal cocktail party that you go to nowadays. You're sitting there, you're reclining in your lovely Roman whatever, because it was a Roman holiday, Saturnalia. You're reclining there and you're eating some figs and some grapes as you're reclining, and everyone's kind of around in the kind of the living room area, whatever they called that in Roman times, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, as you're chewing on a grape, someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, do you want to have sex?" So, it's kind of like a cocktail party, really, when you think of it. Now, last year, I have to show you this. Yes, I have to show you. Last year, let me see if this is going to come up. Last year, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be careful at Saturnalia with your partying, right? And last year, this was me, the day after the Saturnalia party. No, it wasn't. But I made you look, didn't I? So now that the holiday parties are up, you never want to go to a holiday party. Now that it's up, holiday parties are there. Maybe not as many with COVID, but you never want to wake up in the morning after a holiday party and find yourself like this, right? Because if you did, you have a lot of explaining to do, right? Oh, look at this. There's a story behind this painting, isn't there? That's for another time. So I just wanted to explain to you about Saturnalia. I actually had someone say to me, "What is Saturnalia?" Well, Saturnalia was the pagan festival which went on up till the 23rd of December, maybe the 25th, in that time, as I mentioned, where you had parties and you ate figs and people asked you for naughty things. But what happened is Saturnalia was really the pagan festival that preceded Christmas. Because once Christmas was established, and the story got out with the nativity and that, then those Christian folks thought, we got to do something to get our holiday out there, because the pagan Saturnalia was number one. That's where the party people were going. So they had to think of something. So they took Christmas and decided December 25th was going to be the day of the birth of the Christ child, although there were many other dates throughout history. And they just thought, well, if they kind of tagged it there with Saturnalia, they'd have the pagans, maybe joining in, and they'd have Christian converts. Anyways, that's what happened, and that is why this pagan festival of Saturnalia actually precedes Christmas. And really, when you come home from a party like that, Really, who wouldn't like Saturnalia? So I just thought I would explain that to you just a little bit on this December 21st, although you're probably watching this vlog on the 22nd. Well, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, all different colors, all ages, all sexual orientations, I welcome you now to a further reading of Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. I always like to show this, Scrooge, Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, because we're getting close to the end, and we're all anxious to find out what's going on with Scrooge. Now remember, the ghost of Christmas yet to come was flying him through the air, and they were going to all these places. And finally, he took him to this little house. And Scrooge was tired of all the bad things that the ghost had been showing him, so he wanted to see a little bit of tenderness. So there they fly, and they enter into Bob Cratchit's house. It was quiet. It was very quiet. By the way, this is not going to be the happiest of readings of the tale. This bit, not too happy. So they went into the house. It was very quiet. The noisy little Cratchits were still as statues in one corner. The mother and the daughters were engaged in sewing. I guess they didn't have the TV turned on. But surely they were very quiet too. And he took a child and set him in the midst of them. Where had Scrooge heard those words before? Did he dream them? Well, he just wasn't too sure. The mother laid her work upon the table as Scrooge and the ghost of Christmas yet to come stood there in the background. And she says, "The color's hurting my eyes." The color. "They're better again now after a few moments," said Bob Cratchit's wife. "It makes them weak by candlelight. I wouldn't show weak to your father when he comes home." And all of a sudden, in comes Bob Cratchit. And, well, he wasn't very happy. He had a very slow gait. His shoulders were all down. He wasn't a very happy man, but Bob was cheerful with the family when he walked in the door. And he looked at the work that was on the table. And he praised the industry and the speed of which Mrs. Cratchit, his wife, and the girls had worked. They would be done long before Sunday. "Sunday? Oh," says Mrs. Cratchit, you went today then, Robert?" "Yes, my dear, and I wished you could have come with me. It would have done you good to see how green a place it is. And you'll see it often. I promised him that you would walk there on a Sunday." "Oh, my little child," cried Bob Cratchit, "my child." Well, Bob left, and he went up to a room upstairs which was hung with Christmas, and there was a chair close beside the child, and there were signs of someone having been there lately. Bob sat down in the chair, and once he had composed himself, he kissed the little face. Now, can you read into what is going on here without me having to tell you? But this is the ghost of Christmas yet to come, things that may be, who is telling this story and showing Scrooge this is what could happen, Ebenezer, if you don't put some happy in your life. Well, anyways, after a few minutes, Bob came back down the stairs again. Well, it isn't a very happy Cratchit household, to say the least. And Bob did try to pretend that he was happy. It was the holidays, after all. Mrs. Cratchit kissed him, and the daughters kissed him, and the two young Cratchits kissed him. Well, Peter and himself shook hands. Well, you know, straight men and their sons, none of that hugging stuff. Whoa, shake your hand. Why? Then Scrooge says, "Spectre, something informs me that our parting moment is close at hand. I know it, but tell me, what man was that who I saw prior to coming to the Cratchits? Remember we did the whole bit in the story of those people with the piles of offal and rendering someone's clothes and their belongings? Well, Scrooge had asked, but the ghost, of course, doesn't answer because he just points. He's a pointer. So he took Scrooge next to a graveyard. He walked by houses that were overrun with grass and weeds, and the spirit stood amongst the graves, and he pointed down to one. He advanced towards it, trembling. did Scrooge. The phantom was exactly where he was, and this is the point where Scrooge was starting to dread it. I'm going to show you a picture just to give you the scary outlook. Look at this. Can you see that picture? The black is the ghost of Christmas yet to come, and Scrooge is kneeling down there with his hands and going, "Oh, woe is me," something along that line. The ghost pointed down to the grave. Men's courses will foreshadow certain ends to which, if persevered in, they must lead, said Scrooge. But if the courses be departed from him, the ends will change. He looked up at the ghost of Christmas yet to be and said, will you show me? Say that this can be true. Well, as we saw in that little picture I just showed you, Scrooge read the names upon the stone where he was nailing. Do you know what the name said? Ebenezer Scrooge. Well, then pretty much Scrooge figured out that he had been the man who had been laying on the bed that the ghost showed him after we were back there at the piles of the offal and all that stuff. Well, Scrooge got a little upset. "No, Spirit, no, this cannot be. Spirit," he cried, clutching his robe. "Hear me, I am not the man I once was. I will be the man that I should be in the future. Why show me this? Am I past all hope?" Well, then the ghost of Christmas yet to be, was just doing more of this. He's not a talker. He wears black, he wears the hood, he's got one finger. He doesn't need to talk. That finger says it all. It's like the fickle finger of fate. Smarten up, Scrooge. But I think Ebenezer is starting to. Well, he says, "Assure me that I may yet change, that these shadows you have shown me, I can lead an altered life." "I will honor Christmas in my heart," says Scrooge, "and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future." I think the ghost's little finger, if it could smile, it was starting to smile. Dickens doesn't say that, but let's just think that the ghost's finger is smiling. In his agony, Scrooge caught the spectral hand. Well, it sought to free himself as Scrooge was holding on, but he was strong in his entreaty, and he detained it. The spirit was stronger yet, and the spirit repulsed Scrooge. Holding up his hands in a last prayer to have his fate reversed, he saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and his dress. Oh, so now the phantom is wearing a dress. It was like a robe before, and now it's a dress. Well, if a phantom wants to wear a dress, it's okay with me. So, he saw an alteration in the phantom's head and dress, and all of a sudden, the ghost of Christmas yet to be shrank, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost. Very scary stuff. Not very Christmassy today, but we've got to tell the whole story here, viewers. We have to tell it. And tomorrow we start the end of it. I can hardly wait. A couple of more days, and it will be Christmas. I can hardly wait. So that's it for today. Just to give you, I know you're all longing for one more little, oh my God. Can you imagine how many martinis this man had to consume to be laying like this? Oh, God. I hope he had a pedicure. Anyways, that's it for today. We're running a little bit long today. We had a lot to do, a lot to say. So I hope you stayed through to the end. And if you didn't, go back and start over and stay to the end this time. Thank you for joining me on my vlog, and have a happy holiday season. Remember to subscribe, hit that little button, and tell your friends and your neighbors and the elves. Watch my Rob Reed Star channel. Until next time, we'll see you. And do take care of yourselves and be jolly. Bye-bye.